Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Shawn and welcome to the first episode of my Tips and Tricks series. Today I'm going to be speaking to you about perks. Now perks are a crucial part of Call of Duty Ghosts. They can help you stay alive and go on those big streaks. So I'm going to show you them now. So let's go to System Link, just so I can show you Create Soldier. Okay, so this is one of the classes that I use here. Now I'm going to go through all of these categories with you today. So first of all, your speed perks. Now these are more for your players who like to rush around the map a little bit. They're for people who always want to have their gun ready in gunfights and people who like to win a lot of their gunfights, which everyone does, of course. So, I think the most important perks in this category would have to be Ready Up. A lot of players like to sprint around the map, especially those who rush. So this can be extremely important in getting your gun up and winning that gunfight, helping you go on those big streaks. Sleight of Hand's pretty important. I mean, it is worth 2 perk points for you to reload faster, but it can help you get out of those sticky situations. Agility and Marathon are more for those players who like to move around the map very quickly. So if you're one of those people who like to run around with a pistol and get around the map behind them into their spawn, that's definitely worth these 2 perks for you. And Stalker, I think, is the most important perk in this category. It is worth 3 points, so it is a very expensive perk, but I feel that moving around while aiming at a normal pace is extremely important. It allows you to aim around corners, and you don't need to slow down or stop when you're aiming. You can keep aiming while shooting players, and it definitely makes you harder to kill. Now the handling perks are an interesting set of perks. They're more for people who want things to be a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit more accurate. So steady aim is a good one. Increase hip fire accuracy, definitely useful for those people using submachine guns, or you can put it on a light machine gun. You're not going to get a great deal of benefit out of it, but it definitely helps if you ever need to spray from the hip in a close range encounter. Quick draw is very important, I feel. Nothing better than, especially with an assault rifle, an LMG, or even a sniper and marksman rifle, being able to aim in nice and quickly and get onto your target straight away, especially if they're far away and you've got a clear shot. Reflex, that can be useful for, say, snipers who have a sniper and they want to change their pistol or whatever second thing they have nice and quickly. On the go, reload while sprinting, I personally don't think that's useful. If you ever feel that you need to run away and sprint at the same time, then that's probably worth it. Strong arm, I don't use equipment, but if you want to throw your equipment further, such as your IEDs or your grenades, if you're getting a lot of grenades thrown at you and you want to reset the fusions or run back and kill them, this one might be good for you, strong arm. Now, stealth, I don't personally use any stealth perks, but these can be very useful if you use them properly. These are all important for staying off the map. So we've got takedown, which means you kill an enemy and the skull above their head doesn't appear. Now, even though that's only worth 1 pod point, imagine all the times you see a skull on the map, you can tell roughly where the enemy's going to be, so that's not going to appear. So for 1 point, if you've got a spare point, that might be worth considering if you're a bit of a stealthy player. Blind Eye, undetectable by air support, so all the helicopters and sentry guns and stuff like that. And Oracle, now I know Oracle's a very commonly used support streak, so if a lot of these are coming up against you, Blind Eye might be worth considering. Dead Silence is also a very useful one. It makes you move silently, which means well, if you're running around the map and there are a couple of sound whores on the other team, they're not going to hear you unless they're using Amplifier. With that a little later. Incog, this one's just all the sights and stuff like that you get on YouTube, but the best thing about it is no name or red crosshairs when targeted. This one is worth 3 points again, so it's a little bit expensive, but this is great for those players who definitely want to stay off the map, because you can be hiding or camping in the grass and they're not going to be able to see your name pop up above you. And off the grid, a lot of players use SATCOMs, so what happens here is you get to use the... Sorry, I'm getting confused with the other perk, this one, Wiretap. Off the grid is where you are undetectable by SATCOMs and all the radar things on the map. So, again, a lot of enemies use SATCOMs. So if you've got 3 or 4 SATCOMs on the other team and you're using off the grid, you're going to be completely invisible to them. So a very expensive perk, but a very useful one too. The awareness ones are also, in a way, meant to counter the stealth perks. A lot of these are used for peer players who want to know where the enemy is and have that extra advantage in getting behind them or getting in front of them, flanking. Awareness, so the first one is recon, so this means if you hit an enemy with a grenade or a rocket launcher or something like that, they'll be tagged and you'll be able to see them. That little orange glow for a little bit. This can be pretty handy. I don't use explosives, so it's not useful for me, but it can definitely be useful for a lot of players who like to run around with grenades or rocket launchers and stuff like that. Scavenger is pretty useful for me. I like to go on a few longish kind of streaks, so if I find myself running out of ammo, I'll definitely put Scavenger on my classes. As soon as you kill someone, you just get another clip of ammo, so definitely very useful. Sit rep is very handy. I feel I've got this on some of my classes. A lot of players like to use IEDs and stuff like that, like to hide them around corners so when you run past you explode. This will help you see those IEDs, and people like to camp with their IEDs covering them, so you'll be able to see where their IEDs are and have a guess at where they're camping, and it can help you get those campers out of those little corners that are very hard to get out of. Amplified, this one is one I was talking about before. This counters dead silence, so if someone's using dead silence, you can still hear them. The players that aren't using dead silence, they'll be extremely easy to hear about 100 meters away. So if you like to know exactly where people are and you're a bit of a sound for yourself, then Amplify is definitely useful. And Wiretap, this is the one I got confused with before. All SATCOMs on the field, whether they're enemy or friendly, will be available for you to use. So that's definitely a very, very important perk if you know exactly where the enemy is. And they're using SATCOMs, of course. The resistance perks are all about helping you stay alive. Take no damage from falling, that's very self-explanatory. For 1 point, that's pretty good. I think this one's a bit of a waste of time. Most times you won't have the chance to regenerate your health faster, but if you find yourself just winning a gunfight, just surviving, and then dying shortly after when you're still weak, it might be worth your 2 points, but it's debatable whether it's worth that or not. Focus is, I think, one of the most important perks in the game. The 2 points, reduce weapon swim and aiming down sights helps you keep a little bit more accurate, but the big thing here is reduced flinch when hit. So when you're getting shot at, especially with your longer range weapons like the assault rifles, which I'm a big fan of, you'll be able to keep your shots on target, and that's important for winning any gunfight. And then attack resistant blast shield are just resistance to attack grenades, explosives, that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself dying because of those, if you're dying because of grenades, or if you're dying because you're getting stunned a lot, definitely try these 2 perks. Onto your equipment, this very, very self-explanatory, gives you extra equipment. So extra tactical gives you an extra tactical, like a flashbang, extra grenade, or an extra tomahawk, whatever you call them. Extra ammo, this is, I find scavenger and fully loaded basically the same thing. If I'm going to be from a distance killing people, I'll start with fully loaded. If I'm going to be up in their face, I'll use scavenger. Extra attachment for your weapons, for 3 perk points. You know, that's probably not the best thing, but if you really need a sight, a silencer, and extended mags on your gun, or any combination like that, you need 3 attachments, then you're going to have to use this one. But for 3 perk points, it's quite expensive. So if you can get away with using 2 attachments, I would. But it's not extremely important unless you really, really need it. Danger close, for 4 perk points, this isn't too bad. Extra damage with your explosives, like your grenades and your rockets, but you don't have that many explosives in a life, and 4 perk points do a little bit of extra damage. Probably not the best way to spend your money. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this one. But if you run around with 2 grenades, a rocket launcher, then it might be worth it. But for 4 points, I'd much rather spend them on savings than that. Last of all, your elite perks. These are a nice little mix of random perks. I'll quickly go through each of them. So we've got Gambler, which makes you spawn with any one of these perks. Anyone. When you die and you respawn, you'll spawn with a different perk. So it could be something completely useful, but it could be something worth 3 to 5 perk points. So it can definitely help you out. This is good if you've got 1 spare spot and you don't know what perk to spend it on. Hardline's good. You get your kill streaks quicker, 1 less kill for every kill streak. So as you can see in the bottom corner, I've got Dogs, Chopper, and Telepilot for 5, 9, and 12. Those will turn into 4, 8, and 11. And every 2 assists will add as a kill towards my kill streak. Ping means when you kill an enemy, you'll do a little bit of a radar ping, and it will reveal anyone that's nearby. I've actually never used this one, but I can imagine this one might be quite useful if there's a lot of players together. So I'm definitely going to try that out. It might be worth a shot. But for 2 points, if you're looking to change it up or do a little something to help you identify the enemy, ping might be worth a go. Overkill, I think, mightn't be the best perk, but I mean, carrying 2 primary weapons, this can be useful for snipers who want a submachine gun. as their secondary, people who tend to run out of ammo. But if you're running out of ammo, I'd much rather just use fully loaded or scavenger. It's best for those players who want to carry two types of weapons with them. So if you carry a sniper and a submachine gun, that makes sense, but it'd probably make more sense to play as a sniper and have your secondary as a pistol, just to back up, just to help you get those perk points, and to use them more important. Now the last one is Deadeye. Now Deadeye can make or break gunfights. The extra potential to do extra damage with your bullets can be the difference between just losing a gunfight and just winning a gunfight. If you find yourself coming out of a gunfight, you've put 3 or 4 bullets into them and you die, they're probably sitting on about 1 or 2 health before they die. So if you get one of your bullets to do extra damage with this perk, you might find yourself winning a lot more gunfights. That said, it's not going to be useful on a lot of guns. Sniper rifles are pretty much useless unless you're shooting them in the toes. Marksman rifles, stuff like that, you get the chance to do that extra damage, maybe potentially do a one-hit kill if it's in the upper body. Submachine guns that fire quite quickly, this can be very useful on, because you've got more chance to deal more damage because you're shooting more bullets more rapidly. So I'm going to say that this is going to be more useful with your submachine guns and maybe some of the assault rifles. Not too sure. I've only tried it with a couple of guns, but it's definitely helped me out. If you can find a way to squeeze this 5-1 in, I would definitely recommend it. But you don't want to rely on it too much, because a lot of people do look down on it because it is a little bit cheap in some ways. I don't use it on my favourite class. This is the current setup that I've got now. I've got Ready Up, Stalker, Quick Draw, and then Scavenger Focus, or Fully Loaded and Focus, or sometimes I'll switch Scavenger out with Hardline. But I like to mix and match a little bit, find what works for me, and that's the best thing for you, to work out what's best for you. Another little tip I'll give you about perks, just before I finish up, is it's best to remove your secondary, your lethal, and tactical. You can do this by just going over them and pressing X. And what that'll do is that'll clear them, and that'll open up another spot for each of those items of your perks. If you need 1 extra perk point, and you have a secondary, lethal, and tactical, maybe just get rid of your tactical. Getting rid of that tactical would give you that 1 extra perk point. Say if you want to run the Gambler, or say if you want to run Ready Up or something like that, give you that 1 extra. But I only run an assault rifle, no secondary tactical lethal, so I've got the maximum, I think it's 11, yes it is, 11 perk points, and then I can make the most out of my gun. Okay, well that's it everyone today for this perks, tips and tricks episode. If you enjoyed, please like the video, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you next episode.